welcome to another episode of Bill Has Opinions. Your can't miss Bill shit.
Yeah,
I got it right.
You
Look,
got it.
Did you see how I typed it?
you did.
Bill shit.
Oh yeah, she left spaces in between all the letters.
All
so
capital letters. I
Yeah.
would have highlighted it, but I only have a laser printer without color.
Put it in
So
Arial in a,
Yeah,
in a 72 point.
I thought about that. But, oh, by the way, I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
Damn straight you are.
Where I am most Monday nights for some reason. Here we are.
Here we are.
Welcome.
Folks.
Welcome. So,
Hey there.
how are you? What have you been up to since last week?
Fuck all. I don't know. Nothing really. What I do? I changed the oil in the car. That's
Oh,
it was just warm enough at the end of the day Saturday to get outside and change the oil in the car. I mean, it wasn't a warm day, I wouldn't say, but by the around 4:35, it was like, like high 50s or something, like tolerable to be outside for a minute, right?
sure. Sure.
And then today, it was like a fucking beautiful day because it's Monday.
Today was
You
absolutely
got shit to do, and it's nice outside. And you're like, why couldn't you be like this on Saturday or Sunday?
No, that's absolutely true. Yes,
I did-
Sunday. Although Sunday we went out to a local brewery here has a permanent food truck that does Filipino barbecue.
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's delicious.
I got no idea what that is, but I rolled the dice on it.
It was delicious.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it.
Okay, that's cool. Filipino culture is an interesting thing to me, because it's like weird meld of like Asian and Hispanic, right?
And American.
And American,
Because it's been an occupied American territory for a long time.
right, yeah.
Yeah, so it is definitely.
But they're like, if you ever meet an Asian person with a Hispanic last name, they're probably Filipino, right?
Right, yes. I mean, actually, several of my favorite actors, one of my favorite actors, shout out to Vincent Rodriguez III,
Okay.
who played Josh Chan on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh man, yeah. How about
So I very much enjoy his art. But yeah, he's also a dancer and a singer because he was on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It's the whole
that?
But anyway.
Tracks.
But anyway,
he's a triple threat.
you're not. Yeah, he's a triple threat. Thank you very much. Go follow Vincent Rodriguez III on Instagram, folks. You will not be disappointed. Yeah. So, what are you drinking?
What am I drinking? I brought a whole ass load of this Radaburger Pilsner.
All right.
I presume it's German.
One assumes, or German style.
Where's it?
It
at?
says imported. So, imported
Where
from
from?
Germany.
Oh, okay.
Literally in the big.
Deutschland.
That's
It's also vegan,
Is it?
apparently.
I mean, to be fair, German beers ought to be vegan if they follow the purity law.
Right? I was like, I thought that was a funny thing to put on there. Because I was like, yeah, I mean, okay, I get you. Guinness is probably not vegan.
It is now.
It is now, but they used to have fish bladder.
Right. And
But
then,
I just assume everything in the UK has fish bladder.
right.
Like, that's just one of those. I'm not going to get excited if I find out there's like fish parts in a dish that's from the UK. I'm like, yeah, that tracks, because they eat whatever. If it's like, you tell me like, oh, there's like, I don't know, goat liver or something in this. I'm like, yeah, that
Right.
probably.
Like you stuff a sausage into the lining of a sheep's stomach, and that's food.
Yeah. I'm like,
It's-
yeah, that sounds right. A blood sausage. They got a lot of nasty stuff over there. And so I just kind of like, whatever.
well, and
I mean, Worcestershire sauce is just like rancid fish juice.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, aside from, I guess, that particular thing, and like you said, that's been changed for a couple of years now. The whole vegan beer thing. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's
A milk stout, I guess, wouldn't be vegan.
or some sort of honey ale.
Yeah, honey ale would be vegan, right?
Okay, but yeah.
This was, so I mentioned haggis. I didn't mention it by name, but if you're a fan of Alton Brown, there was an incredible Alton Brown episode where he talked about haggis, and he did a little skit where he was a Scotsman, and it's with a really bad Scottish accent. He just came, "Stoop the stomach." And it was just, Alton Brown was not a TV chef. He was a freaking comedian that had a
it's
cooking
true.
show.
He was adorable.
He was a personality.
I always say was like he's
Yeah,
passed
no,
on.
he's still
around.
hilarious.
You
too.
can still check him out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure he's doing something.
He was at Dragon Con a few years ago.
Yeah,
Went
I
to
actually
see it.
saw him in Charlotte at a food thing. Goddamn, probably a million years ago now. Like
Sure.
I feel like a couple years ago, but it was. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I saw him in Atlanta. Probably he was doing tours.
He was still doing
Good Eats.
Yeah.
Me too. I saw him. It might have been the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but there was like some like I went to some. I don't know. It was like a food festival thing, and he was like
was his demonstration making beef jerky using box fans and air filters?
I don't recall that at all.
Because that's what I saw.
No, I just remember him. I think he was just giving a talk or something, and he might have talked about salt cellars for a minute.
I mean,
because he was into those.
Sure,
he was very into that, But anyway, I digress.
But none of these. Oh, and I guess I.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking the same thing.
The same shit from the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, okay. ESB.
So finishing this up.
Knock it out with a porter. Well, we're about to transition.
Spring's coming, so you're gonna switch
lagers and lagers.
I got you. I've just been on a German kick for the last few weeks. Like I just want beer flavored beer. I don't want any fucking around.
The brewery we went to that had the Filipino barbecue truck, they do a lot of lagers and pilsners and things.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a rye lager. It was really good.
Oh yeah?
It was really good. It didn't it was rye, so it had a little bit more of a chewier mouthfeel.
I got you.
Otherwise it just tasted like beer.
Okay.
Just beer with rye in it.
Yeah.
It was good. I think you would like. I don't know. Did you ever go to Zillicoa when you were?
Yeah. I love Zillicoa had a good corn lager that I loved, and actually them and what's the one on the South Slope with the big hop? What's that? Twin Leaf. Twin Leaf has they don't have it a lot, but once in a while in the summertime they'll have a corn lager also. Yeah,
Highwire used to have a corn lager,
and
unfortunately the guy who made the corn lager left to start his own brewery, and it was his recipe, so they couldn't keep it.
Okay, what's his brewery?
It's not in town.
Oh, he left town.
He left town. So
he fucked the hell off.
He just went somewhere else to
fuck you guys out of
here. Oh, speaking of people who said fuck you guys, I'm out of here though. We went last week when there was a nice afternoon. We went out to a brand new brewery that opened in West Asheville called Diatribe.
Mm-hmm.
It's in what used to be Altamont and then was Upcountry.
Okay.
And Upcountry was the guy
okay, so the one down at the corner there? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Upcountry was the guy from Terrapin, not the brewer, but like the business guy.
Yeah.
Who got bought out and then decided to leave and start his own thing.
Uh-huh.
But he was never the brewer. So his beers weren't great.
Yeah.
But then he moved down to Brevard and he opened an Upcountry down there and didn't want to keep it running up here.
Oh, okay. Anyway. So Upcountry moved to Brevard.
Yes.
Okay.
And they opened in Brevard before that. Anyway, long story. But Diatribe, which is a new brewery, just opened up in the old Altamont space, which is one half of the what was the Upcountry space, and it's really, really, really cool. And the beers were delicious, and they had a lot of low gravity pilsners and lagers. I had a dark lager that was delicious.
Yeah.
It was really good. I had a English mild that was really good too.
That sounds very interesting.
It tasted exceedingly English. I was like, I feel like I'm in a pub.
That's
in England.
I am very interested in that. That sounds like something that'd be.
It was very
because I mean, I know I'm on the German kick right now, but really I feel like
classic beer
old
styles.
world.
Yeah.
Because I've also been lamenting the inability to find a Hobgoblin around here, which is
English.
Does that
even still exist?
I looked it up. It does, but I don't know where the fuck you find it anymore. But Hobgoblin is an English ale that you used to be able back when I first got into beer.
Yeah.
It used to be everywhere. It was prevalent.
I took my share of Hobgoblin.
And now I guess because of the multitude of other beers, it's just hard to. I think I read that Total Wine might still carry it.
But we don't have a Total Wine.
Do we not? Is there not one over? At off Oakley somewhere over there?
No, I don't think so.
I thought there used to be one over.
I don't think we have a Total Wine at all in North Carolina.
Where the rest
used to be in Asheville.
There used to be
because I'd be going to Total Wine all the time.
There used to be a store called something like I don't know. It's over there by the mall, but like past the mall, on the way to Sonic, by the Dick's. There used to be a place called something like Kitchen and Company, and then it changed hands.
No, it's still Kitchen and Company.
It's still Kitchen and Company.
Yeah, it's not a Total Wine.
Okay.
They do have some beers, but it's still
looks
Kitchen and Company.
it looks like a Total Wine.
Well,
if you walk in there, you'd swear to God you were in a Total Wine.
well,
kind
except
of
that it also has like restaurant equipment.
It does have like yeah.
It's more like, to me, less a Total Wine and more like a Home Depot if Home Depot were restaurant equipment.
Okay.
But it also has some beer. And
okay.
Some wine.
It does. Yeah. And sometimes you can find a random weird thing in there. Although I haven't been in there in fucking years.
Yeah, I actually haven't been in there in years and years either. But anyway, we're not talking about any of that today.
Yeah. But anyway, if you guys out there in our wanted to know a crazy place to go look for weird beers, there you go.
There, go to Kitchen and Company. But what we're here to talk about on this here February 26th is actually a little day that happens 3 days from now.
Yeah.
Which is Leap Day.
That's
because,
right. Yeah.
2024 is a leap year, which is one of those random years where we get an extra day for no reason.
Yeah. Well, it's not for no reason.
I know.
There's a reason.
It's a reason, and I got lots of reasons.
We're going to talk about that. I'm going to go into it briefly right now. Actually.
Okay. All right.
So it turns out that clocks are pretty fucking accurate. Like they do a good job. Like whoever came up with the way the clock works, like I'm not going to fault them at all. Like they did a really good job for getting a thing that mostly works.
24 hours, save some seconds.
Yeah, there's a few extra seconds every day. And so what we do is we sort of fold those into an extra day every 4 years.
Approximately every 4 years.
Kind of, sort of. And that's just how we factor it in. Like we just, okay, we'll throw them at the end of the shortest month. How's that?
Yes.
That works.
Yes.
Like,
And up until the moment I was doing research for this show, I understood leap year to be every 4 years. It
turns out it's got a bunch of if-then statements.
Yeah, there are a lot of like, it is the most complicated
it's a huge algorithm, right?
It is like if Taylor Swift's plane leaves Tokyo, can she make it to Las Vegas at this time? It is a total word problem.
Yeah.
To figure out how leap day is calculated. So
it's worse than trying to figure out how Easter happens, right?
Right. Well, Easter, I know. I actually know.
No, I know Easter too, and I'm not even religious. I don't give a fuck. But I do know that Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon after the equinox.
Right. Right. That's going to be this. I mean, it's going to be a different day every year.
But it's a Christian holiday.
Right. Yeah, even though that sounds like that's the
paganest shit you've ever heard.
Absolutely the most pagan shit. But yes. Which is why Easter this year is on March 31st.
Right. Which I always used to wonder why it moved around. And then when I finally learned, I was like, God damn, that's some crazy shit.
Right? But so yes, it is so much more. I don't know if we want to get into the actual math of it right now. Do we want to get into the math of it right now?
We'll come at that in a minute. Let's do the little
monologue.
I got a little thing. Well, I was telling you before I told you earlier in the day. My pediatrician, he was born on a leap year in 1932.
Right, which led to a different conversation earlier today.
That's kooky pants, she says.
Well, yeah, but wait, 1932 wasn't a leap year.
But it turns out it was.
Because it's not every 4 years, which is literally what I've thought my entire life, having only been born in 1975.
But so my pediatrician, the guy's still alive, by the way. He's not practicing.
So he's 90. What? No, I can't do that math. He's 92 this year. Yeah.
Well, yeah, 92. Or he'll be on his 23rd birthday.
Right.
And I remember this because when I was 8 years old, my mom told me Dr. Morphus is having a birthday.
Wait, his name's Dr. Morphosis?
No, Dr. Morphus.
Oh, okay. Well, even still, because he sounds like a DC comic villain.
Yes, Dr. Morphus, yes.
Even still.
Yes. He does sound like you're right. He does sound like a villain, but he's not
a real person.
But he's not. He's he's actually a real pediatrician, and he's probably not practicing anymore because he's fucking old as hell.
Well, yeah, I mean, hope
his daughter-in-law took over his practice. Who's also Dr. Morphus, by the way. But
I mean, the tracks. I mean, I guess she could not
have been Dr.
taken
something hyphen Morphus, or she could have been
just not.
But I think because there was some clout in being Dr. Morphus in that town, because he had been there forever. He was the team doctor for the high school football team. He made rounds at both the hospital and at this place where my mom worked, which was a facility for mentally handicapped people that were, basically wards of the state, kind of.
Sure.
But yeah, he was also my pediatrician. I'll tell you this guy spoiled me for fucking, ruined me for the current medical system in this country, because he was the kind of guy where you could call him up on a Sunday night and be like, I busted my eye, and he'd be like, I'll meet you at the office in 10 minutes.
You had a real country doctor.
Yeah. And people don't do that shit anymore.
Although that said, even when I was getting my pediatrician and we were in the suburbs of Detroit, would do that too.
Yeah. So maybe it was just like a time thing.
Yes.
But he was like, that was a thing that basically that generation of doctor, when they were gone, that shit didn't happen anymore.
Right.
And he basically ruined me for fucking doctors forever, because now they're show up at 4:00 and sit around for 4 hours and wait for my ass to show up.
Or I have an immediate problem. Can I make an appointment? Yes, for October.
Yes, that kind of shit. Yeah. First, we're gonna need to have a get together or get to know you session,
right.
And then we can talk about whatever your issues. I'm like, I'll be dead.
Exactly.
I tell you what, I'm just gonna go to urgent care. And maybe they'll refer me to the emergency room. I don't know.
Right. But we're going to see what happens.
So, yeah, I don't actually have a real doctor anymore because of that shit. Because but anyway, Dr. Morphus, my mom told me when I was 8 years old, hey, it's Dr. Morphus. I think at the time she was like, this is Dr. Morphus' 14th birthday or something. And I was like, what? And she explained that he was born on Leap Day. And I was like, what? That's crazy. How? It blew my mind.
Well, I mean, yes, and we will talk all about. So apparently, people born on Leap Day are commonly known as leaplings.
Oh,
so
yeah, he's a leapling. Man.
He's a leapling, apparently, and I'm sure he knows that.
Oh,
right?
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
So you figure. So we do have a lot more to talk about than one old man's 23rd birthday, but. Let's we do a break. We don't know why we do it. We do it just because we love it. We like to promote causes and people that we like.
Yeah.
So we're going to take our station break now. And I figured with the extra day you have this year, the money that you make on your extra day, so you can calculate your year's salary.
Sure,
figure out the money that you made on that extra day.
Right.
You can donate it to the ACLU.
Well, yeah, you got to figure it's whatever your, if you have an hourly rate, even if you're salaried, you can figure out what your hourly rate is.
Oh, yeah. There's an easy formula. I know it very well because I used to be a recruiter.
52 divided by something by something.
2040. So 2,040 hours is what you divide your annual salary by.
Okay. I usually go about it the hard way then.
Yeah, that is definitely the hard way. Yeah. 2040.
Okay.
Yes. Do that.
Very well.
But also, people, it seems like when something's a hot button issue, we talk about it a lot, but it's still a problem, folks. The LGBTQ plus community is still under attack. A child was just murdered by classmates because they were non-binary and their classmates were beating them up and they died from their injuries. So we cannot let this continue to stand. We have to keep supporting. I have the ACLU Drag Defense Fund. So that's part of it. But of course, any
HRC or Trevor
Project,
any of those things. Trevor Project was my birthday fundraiser on Facebook. That's a thing people do, raise money on Facebook for a thing. But yeah, any of those things would be great.
People are literally dying because these laws have been created.
Yeah. So and it's the dumbest shit ever. Who gives a fuck?
This child should still be alive.
Absolutely.
And it was other children
Yeah,
because of the climate we've
but
created.
and it's even worse in that state, but it's getting worse everywhere. You know, I mean, and I know because my kid Simon, he tells me he's got a friend who's non-binary who lives in Washington State, thankfully, but lived in North Carolina, moved to Washington a couple years ago. You know, as soon as
right,
high
as
school
soon as
was
they
over,
were.
like was like, fuck this shit, I gotta get out of here, you
Yeah.
know. And but yeah, there's states that are obviously more favorable to you than others.
Right.
If that's
which sucks in America,
you shouldn't,
right?
you shouldn't have to. Yeah, absolutely. You shouldn't have to be, like move across the country from your fucking family because
you happen to be LGBTQ, right?
Yeah.
Like I love where I live in North Carolina, but dear God, the politics suck. And I don't want to be in a position where we're like, I have to move back to the Midwest just because.
Right.
First, I don't like the weather there. But also, I don't want to. I want to stay where I am. I want to live here, but I also want people to have basic human rights.
Right.
So that would be preferable.
It would be. And, you know, I'm the same way. Like, I have my reasons for being here, but I don't like the politics here. And I would, you know, much prefer if we could just
not fucking do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, and I don't, you know, for the party of freedom.
Yeah.
You know, seriously gets her panties in a twist about what other people are doing, and that was on purpose that I said panties.
Oh, I know. But, and we could, I mean, we actually have. You can check out our What the Florida episode from a few months back. So this is not a political episode, but I just felt the need that we needed to promote some of these human rights organizations. So donate.
Yeah,
folks.
it's very important right now.
Do it. Okay. But let's get on to calendars and why they're fucked up.
Yeah, you talk about that for a minute because you do more research.
Well, I did a lot of fucking. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't get calendars at all. First off, I'll throw that out there. Like, if you put something on the calendar, I'm the first person who's gonna fuck that shit up. Like, and show up a day early or 2 weeks late.
That's why everything was the other day.
Yeah,
the other day. You're like, that was 6 years ago, Bill. And you're like, I don't care.
I guess if you say so.
It was an other day. But all right, so I did look into this, and so as I understood it up until like yesterday, that leap year was every 4 years we add a day into February to kind of balance out the calendar.
Sort it out.
Yeah, but we do not. That is not what happens. So it goes way back. You know, for a long time, people use lunar calendars, et cetera, which we're also familiar with because of globalization. Like, we know Lunar New Year and all kinds of things. But at some point, the Romans decided we need to create a cohesive calendar.
Well, they were like,
because they conquered all kinds of people.
We need 3 or 4 more months that have names of emperors in them.
Well, that's actually, yeah. So before Julius Caesar, there were 10 months.
Right.
And which actually makes a lot more fucking sense if you think about it. Because December, which is based on the Latin term deca, 10.
Yes. And November from 9.
October 8, September 7, right? But Julius Caesar was like, no, I am Julius Caesar. I would like another month, please.
And call it July.
No reason whatsoever. So Julius Caesar calls it July. This is great. He changes it, adjusts all the months around it, including accounting for some days because it is a solar calendar.
Then he gets stabbed in the gut.
And he dies. But then his nephew, Augustus, comes in and is now the new Caesar.
Yeah.
He's like, I am Augustus, I'm the new Caesar. You know what I want? I want
I like months too, thank you.
So Julius had stuck his month into number 7, right? Yeah, 7. And Augustus was like, no, how about the 8th month? That's my month now. It's August. So
and everybody's like, but that makes October fucking weird, man.
It really does. It fucks it all up. But on top of that, so this is not related to leap day, but on top of that, Julius Caesar's month is 31 days.
Yeah.
Augustus is like, my month also has to be 31 days. And that's why randomly in the middle of the year, we have 2 months with 31 days.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to the alternating that most of the months are.
Got you.
Because you've done the thing, right? January, February, March,
Oh, shit,
April, May,
I hate
June,
pneumo-
July,
no,
August, September,
have not
October,
done-
November, December, January.
I did not do that.
You did
I
not.
never did that.
Yeah, that's how you do it. You do it with your knuckles.
I said I'm bad at calendars. It's not my thing. I'm not. I related the most to the fucking wormhole beings on Deep Space Nine because they were like every time somebody would start talking about like time and shit, they'd be like, "Oh, they're linear." Who knows what that even means?
So somewhere along the line, a monk was like, "This is all fucked up," because every once in a while, like the Romans would just add a month.
Yeah,
like here's just a whole month.
Oh, they would do that like every like decade or so, just to sort it all out.
Yeah, we're gonna sort it right now.
What do they call
sorting
that
it all
month?
out. I don't even know, and I probably could find it out, but I only did so much research. So the Gregorian calendar, which is what we use today, is largely used by pretty much the entire world. Excuse me, with the exception of independent. Like there's still a lunar New Year, for example. There's still like Ramadan is calculated on a lunar year situation.
Yeah.
And such. But for the most part, most places use the Gregorian calendar. So
at least for like normal time tracking shit.
Yes, normal time tracking shit.
Like not for your religious holidays can fall on the lunar calendar, but your
your Monday through Friday.
Your work bullshit.
Your work bullshit. Right. And in the Gregorian calendar, it was, so we had, he figured it out. He's like, okay, we got we have this extra time because, again, our clocks are a little bit off.
Too much time on my hands.
So he figured it out. So generally you have, 12 months, most of them 30 to 31 days, except for February, which is 28. But if we add an extra day in February every few years, then that should balance us out.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it gets weird.
Okay.
This is where I legit thought until this show that it was every 4 years, like the Olympics. Like I literally thought it was every 4 years. No. I can't even, I had to copy and paste this because I was like, the fuck?
She couldn't even keep up with
it. I couldn't. So it was decreed.
Who decreed this?
Gregor. It was decreed that
from the calendar.
From the calendar.
Okay.
That years divisible by 100 not follow the 4-year leap day rule unless they were also divisible by 400. In the past 500 years, there was no leap day on 1700, 1800, and 1900, but 2000 had one because the divisibility situation.
Wait, you can divide 2000 by 400? Oh,
no, also by 400.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it was decreed that years divisible by 100 were not
I got you.
Which is why 1900 wasn't, but 2000 was.
Okay.
Unless they were also divisible by 400.
I guess that's just the only one in recent memory. We didn't live through the others.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's why 32 blew your mind.
Absolutely.
Because you were like, what the fuck?
So, for example, in the next 500 years, if we continue the same practice, which I can't imagine will change it anytime soon, there will be no leap day in 2100, 2200, 2300, and 2500. But there will be in 2400. So, yes. And then that's when I was like, when you said 1932, and I'm like, wait, 1932 couldn't be a leap year. So I looked it up. Apparently it fucking was. And in 2032 will also be a leap year because of this whole divisible bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's very, fuck me. I don't even goddamn know. Like, that's too much math.
This is why I don't subscribe to calendars because they've been making this shit up. You don't want to talk about conspiracy theories. The biggest conspiracy anybody ever pulled was they made up time and told you needed to be somewhere at a time. And that's fucked up, man. Because there is no time. That's just a concept.
It's just a construct.
It's like it ain't even a real thing.
So, but here's a fun fact. If we did not observe leap day, if we didn't observe it at all, the seasons would swap every 750 years.
Yeah, man. What year would it be also?
Whoa, right.
Like calculate that shit. We should ask AI that before the show.
No, AI wouldn't. AI is not that complex.
You don't think it would know?
ChatGPT, no.
It couldn't do the math on that? I just don't want to do it.
I understand that it can. I know people that use ChatGPT for for computer programming, and sometimes it's legit wrong.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't
All right.
completely trust it. But anyway, yeah, so every 750 years, which means there would be generations of people that would think winter is summer and summer is winter.
Mm.
And it would take that, you know, and it would just drift.
It'd be like living in Australia for a generation.
Well, right.
And being
And
like, this is crazy, like, because Christmas is hot.
and then suddenly moving. Yeah. Well, which is, I think, a lot of non-Muslim people are very confused by Ramadan.
Yeah,
Because-
I used to think it happened because I remember there was a year when I want to say in the last 10 or 15 when
like at Christmas time, yes.
there was like a
Yes.
fucking alignment, like Ramadan and what's the Hanukkah and
Christmas and solstice and
what's the Indian one? That happens
Diwali,
Diwali. All of them like kind of
which is also a lunar.
yeah,
so
which all of them
but
sort of
very lunar.
all
specifically.
of them aligned one year. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. It's just everybody does a thing.
Right. and then like
But
you
then
know,
sometimes Ramadan's in like March or sometimes it's in like
Right.
fucking
July,
November.
yeah. and it's because it's purely lunar. Like it
I
is
got you. Which
not
is crazy though, because
affected.
Lunar New Year always seems to be like, you know, a month or so after New Year.
I think Eastern cultures have also created a version of, because it's also in line with the seasons. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So like,
Oh, so New Year's supposed to happen winter. So they just like, okay, well, it'll happen, you know, towards the end of winter.
well, right. I think it's actually somehow related to the agricultural calendar. Anyway, I'm not a scholar in that. I'm sure people could definitely
Oh, sure, yeah.
teach us why we're wrong. But
Right. Feel free to chime in if you know.
yes, please do. Anyway, but so humans are very confused by time.
Like I said, I don't even fucking subscribe to it.
But it's
Except for I have to because everyone else has. So in a societal sense, I have.
well, no,
But I would rather fuck it. Like I'd rather be like fuck it all. I don't care. You know.
well,
Like,
right. Didn't you say to me once that you're like, if I weren't aging, I wouldn't believe in time at all.
yes.
But if I didn't like have a physical,
Yes, if there wasn't a manifestation of it, I could be like, yeah, I don't even care. It's not a thing.
it's not a thing. All right. So you sent me 2 topics, and I'm curious
Oh.
why.
Well, because they coincide
Oh, right.
with,
okay.
with the leap year.
Except apparently they don't always.
Except not always.
So you
Which I learned today.
right.
I was today years old when I learned this.
That's exactly right. Because yeah, you sent me Summer Olympics and presidential elections,
Which are two
happen
things that
every 4 years.
which always happen during the leap year in my lifetime.
Yeah, in my lifetime, exactly. Because the last time that it happened in the 1932-36 era was when your pediatrician was born.
Okay.
My father was born in 1935,
Uh-huh.
and so he had one leap year. So he was only one in 1936 when it was a leap year. But then after that, it reset itself. And by the next time there was a leap year, it had been every 4 years on the 0s and 4s and 8s until
Okay, forever. Yeah.
until apparently 2032.
Yeah.
So that's the next time that'll happen. But yeah, so yes, you are correct. And you were today years old when you learned that. And not even like that's when you sent me like he was born in 1932. And I'm like, no, that's bullshit. Like, oh fuck, it wasn't.
And then she came back and said, "Oh no, it was one of those weird leap years." And I was like, "Okay, we'll have to talk about what the weird thing
Well,
is.
the weird thing is that it's
It's a weird calculation."
yeah, if years divisible by 100 do not follow the 4-year leap day rule unless they're also divisible by 400. It's just like that's too much math.
It is a lot of stuff going on there, and I don't like math either. That's probably why I don't like time. Is because time is just math,
That's true. That's true.
and I never liked math.
I do not.
So
I
I was
also
like, "Fuck all that. I don't care."
do
like,
not like math.
Yeah. So like I said, I have told people in the past, ever since because of the fucking Deep Space Nine, I like to tell people I'm non-linear. I don't subscribe to that.
I mean, I yes. So the weird part is my sense of anxiety, my particular brand of anxiety, is very connected to time.
Okay.
Like if I'm 5 minutes early, I'm late to something. Like,
Mm.
or if I don't leave my house in half an hour before I'm
Okay.
supposed to be somewhere, I'm
Yeah,
late.
yeah.
I'm gonna be late.
I get you there. I mean, I while I say I don't subscribe to time, I am a early arriver for things.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not you're not one of those people that are like, I've got plenty of time. Then 6 hours later, you show up like, I don't know what happened.
I try not to be. I feel like because I have had people in my life who were this person,
Mhm.
and I feel like when people are, when people are chronically late for a thing, they don't value your time.
Correct. I mean, that's
Even though I don't believe in time.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I agree. Yeah.
it's-
no. Well, and
it's
you
like
don't have to believe in the construct of time to know that your own time is like your own existence is valuable.
Sure, yes, that. Yes, exactly.
Therefore, if
Yes.
we're going to plan a thing at a time, that is valuable to me.
Right.
And that's
if
what
I
time
set
we do.
aside a Saturday afternoon to hang out with you, and then at 3:00 when I call you and say, "Hey, where are you at?" You say, "Oh, I drank a lot last night and I'm not going to come." I'm going to be a little put out.
Yeah, that's
And or if you happen to be my ex-wife and I'm supposed to meet you somewhere, this is hypothetical.
is it?
Yeah,
Now.
this is like having a friend of mine.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. If you were supposed to meet me to drop off the kid at say 4:30 and you don't show up till 6,
Oh, I'd be.
Oh
God.
that's just
There
I
would
don't know.
be so many levels of
It
anger.
seems mildly rude.
Oh my God!
It's
Not
like,
even my. Oh
it's
Lord.
like you just don't care that I wasted my fucking afternoon.
Correct. Yeah. No, which brings us back to the earlier conversation about the medical system, right?
Right?
Like
Because they're like, oh God, yeah. Because if they tell you got an appointment at 10, and you show up, you got to show up at 8 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they tell you show up at 9:45
And check in.
So I get there because my
and then
particular
go in this room and take all your clothes off and sit there naked for 2 hours,
right
until somebody gets around to
with
you.
a napkin. You can have here's a napkin.
Here's a
for
napkin
you.
you can wear, and then 2 hours later they come and sometimes somebody will duck in and be like, "Hey, the doctor will be with you in the next half hour or whatever."
Yeah.
the fuck. But let me tell you something. If you show up 10 minutes later than you're
Uh-huh.
supposed to, they'll be like, "Sorry, you missed your appointment, and we're gonna dock you $200."
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
what a bunch of fucking shit. Because like they don't value your time. Like I understand the doctor makes whatever the fuck he makes an hour,
And I get they're busy, right?
but I also make X number of dollars an hour, and you fucked me over. And I want to send them an invoice. Like,
exactly.
here's what I like. I had to take time off of work, and I make X number of dollars an hour, and you dick me over and made me wait around, and now here's your bill.
That is actually
Or subtract it from your bill. Whatever the fuck you want to do.
right.
You know?
However you want to do it. Absolutely. No, I completely agree. I'll tell you, at least I was glad when I had major surgery a year and a half ago. That shit happened on time. And I'm glad because I had to fast overnight.
Oh, fuck it.
I
Oh,
had
my
to do
God.
all kinds of prep. I had to
Right.
do all these things, and it was
And then you have anxiety.
because they're gonna literally cut
Because
me
if they
open.
don't get on it now, like you're just gonna sit around and stew over
Yes.
it. Yes, I get that.
Yes.
Like, and I'm not even an
I
anxious.
was grateful for that.
I'm not an anxious person, but medical procedures do cause me anxiety. And
I mean, hopefully they cause everybody.
yeah,
The fact that somebody could cut me open, remove part of the inside of me, sew me back together, and I'm still alive sitting here drinking beer today.
potentially leave a sponge or forceps or something inside of you.
Every once in a while, I think about that, and then I'm like, I should not think about that because then I'm going to keep thinking about
Like, what if
that.
I'm walking around with stuff
Yeah,
inside
what if
me
I
that
have,
shouldn't be there?
What if I have like?
They're like, well, we
scissors or
took these
something
things
in
out of this lady. We should put something back.
me?
You should get to choose. Like, you should be like a checklist. Like, what would you like if we're gonna leave something in place of the thing we removed?
What
What would you like in lieu of a uterus? Like,
Oh my god, there are all kinds of things like
Yeah.
a vending machine. Like,
Yeah.
what else can I have?
I don't know,
What can I use?
like a 2-pound stone or something.
No, I don't want that.
Let's smooth the rock.
No, the whole point was that I did not want that. Basically, I have a 2-pound stone. Anyway, that's all. right. So, okay, here's a fun leap day
Okay.
tradition I learned.
Yeah.
We often talk about Sadie Hawkins Day, but I learned that way back, like way back in history,
Okay.
Leap Day became a day where it was opposite day in a
Oh,
less
everything's crazy. You wear your pants on your head.
in a less feminist world. Women could they were allowed to on this one day propose to their sweetheart.
Oh my gosh.
On this one day.
So you sent me this earlier in the day, and I didn't realize you were gonna have all this prefacing, because I was gonna say, well, honestly, they can do this whenever.
No, that's absolutely true. And yes,
you can do whatever whenever.
They can and they should. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean, although I'll tell you this, fellas, I mean, and I'm all for gender roles not being a thing, but if you wait until your lady proposes to you, you're probably there's probably gonna be like I'm just gonna say, like, it's not gonna go well for you eventually. At some point, this will be thrown in your face. I don't know the fuck.
Maybe. I mean, it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
I also think we are living in thankfully, as even though some things don't say, I hope we're living in an increasingly non-binary world where just people can just ask the other person.
Or don't bother.
Or don't bother.
Don't bother. I told my kids, listen, and I'm married. And I'm not knocking my current marriage or anything, but I am saying, like, I do feel like it's kind of like it's on its way out. Like I'm just like, who gives a shit? Like, meh. Like, why bother with this shit? You know?
Well, I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I don't.
But if you're gonna bother, ladies, propose to men, fellas, don't ask her fucking father, because, like,
fucking no.
What is she, fucking property or something?
Well, yeah, I mean, that is why, but no. Fuck that noise. Oh, that was always the thing that
I'm against it.
I'm very much against that. We should, in the future, have which would be interesting, an entire episode about wedding etiquette, which will be interesting because I don't believe in marriage at all. I mean, and you are married, but you're like, meh.
What are you going to do? Have 2 or 3 of them in your lifetime? You know?
I am nearly 50 and I've had exactly 0. But I've been with somebody for 30 years.
You escaped unscathed.
Yeah, but I've been with the same person for 30 years. So, and also people who kept telling us when we were younger, oh, what are you afraid of commitment? That's what I want to say.
You know, it's funny.
30 years, motherfucker.
You know, a personal hero of mine, Mr. Kurt Russell, is not married to his current lady, who they've been together for like 35 years.
If you mean current lady, it's
the lady he's been with for 35 years.
Right.
Apparently, they've both been married 3 times prior to that.
And they were like, nah,
it doesn't seem to work out.
This was not great. We did not like this. Absolutely.
That was their idea. And I think I've actually heard John Leguizamo say the same thing about the lady he's with currently, is that he's been married before and it didn't work. And whenever his kid asks him, why aren't you married to mommy? He says, because I love her too much.
I mean, so that's the show for now. But
that's the whole thing.
The women can propose on Leap Day. I found it interesting.
Apparently.
Like, there was because this dates way back in ancient Ireland. And there was a story about how St. Bridget implored St. Patrick to provide this one special day for women, which is interesting because historically
they don't exist in the same
timeline. They don't remotely exist in the same timeline. They just both happen to be Irish saints.
Okay.
One of whom was a goddess that was transitioned into.
I got you, like gobbled up by the Christianity.
Yes, and the other one has some vague, history that's probably
ran the snakes that never existed out of Ireland.
But is an amalgam of there was a bishop and there was a
the snakes were the atheists.
Yeah, no, this is the pagans.
Yeah,
snakes are the pagans. I have in my Amazon cart right now a T-shirt that has like a St. Patrick figure, like with the Pope hat and everything. With his little staff, and there's a snake, and he goes, "Go on, get." And I found it. I haven't bought it yet, but I find it very funny.
It's kind of funny.
Go on, get. It made me laugh. I'm like, do I need this shirt? So I'm leaving it in there until I decide either I absolutely do or I absolutely don't. All right, so birthdays, as we discussed, your pediatrician.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Dr. J.O. Morphus.
Dr. Morphus.
Dr. Morphus.
That's very
Alas, Dr. Morphus,
that's a
we meet
comic book-
again.
That's a comic book villain.
That's what I would. If
I've
I
never heard the name.
if I actually got to sit in a room with him again, I'd say that. I'd say, Dr. Morphus, we meet again.
Well, he's very old now.
Yes, he'd probably be like, "Who are
Apparently,
you?"
he could still run for president if he wanted to.
I mean,
but
yeah.
he's very old now.
I mean, he's probably smarter than the guys running.
Well, some of them.
He went to Duke. He was a smart guy. I liked him.
I mean, Biden has a decent education.
Yeah, that's
He's
fair.
a pretty smart guy too.
Yeah,
But anyway, that's neither.
but
here
we
nor
all
there.
lose our marbles at one point, right?
Well, yeah, but that's yes. But I hate
mean-
to tell you that the other guy lost his
Oh,
a
listen,
long fucking
I'm-
time ago.
Like we yeah, I get you. I'm not trying to pull a both sidesism thing, but at the same time, I'm also pointing out I would love for younger people to
I
run for
would
president.
very much like that. Yes, but right now we get the hand we're dealt.
Yeah, we get
And,
the hand we're dealt.
But
That's
I would
true.
like the president that does not encourage high school students to beat up and murder another high school student because they're non-binary. But anyway, that is not what we're talking about right now. Liebling birthdays. So that after you told me about your pediatrician,
Oh yeah.
that led me to look up famous Lieblings, as you might imagine, since it only happens every 4 years,
Sure.
give or take. There aren't that many.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
a
no,
ton.
I guess not a lot.
Not a ton. So I've got some from history,
Okay.
throughout history. Dinah Shore,
Okay.
right? She was a Liebling. She was born on
Dinah
a Leap
Shore.
day.
I think her and Burt Reynolds had a thing for a minute.
Yeah, I was also gonna say like that's very Gen X because she was too old for us, but we know who she is.
We do.
but we don't really know why we know who
Because-
she is.
Because Wham sang Jitterbug, and he mentions Dinah Shore.
He does, yeah.
Says to make the sun shine brighter than Dinah Shore.
Yeah.
Like, and that's some shit.
Yeah,
Like, why do I know that? Because I do.
because I do, but I couldn't like I know she was a TV host and a presenter, and
She was a triple threat. Also, I think she was a singer, dancer, actor.
but by the time we were a kid, like she wasn't doing
She
any
wasn't-
of that.
she wasn't
was
doing
just
anything.
hosting talk shows.
She was
or
just open
something.
Tasha. Yeah,
Yeah.
But she had been a thing a few years before that.
A few. All right, so
Okay.
next on the list was Ja Rule.
Ja Rule. All
Was
right.
a hip hop star.
I'm aware of Ja Rule
I-
tertiarily, but I couldn't name a fucking song.
I
by
know,
Ja-
I agree. The half the
I know
reason-
he had beef with Nas, not Little Nas X.
yeah, not Little Nas X,
but I know
Nas.
that
It's
Nas
just Nas
and
now.
Ja Rule had like some sort of beef, and that's
Yeah.
what I know about. That's the extent of what I know about him.
One of my favorite things about Ja Rule is one of the YouTubers I watch is is the show called Ghost Files, where they go into haunted places and
Sure.
and you know
Experience ghosts.
experience ghosts. And one of my favorite, they use all these ridiculous. I've talked about this before on the show. They use ridiculous techniques to
Uh-huh.
find it, and one of them is they have a radio box that like quickly scans the channels,
Uh-huh.
and apparently ghosts can communicate via that.
Okay.
But there is one technique where somebody has headphones with the scanner, and they say out loud the things they hear, the real words they hear.
Okay.
So while the other person is asking questions, this person cannot hear that other person.
And they're just
And
saying
they're
things
just saying
at random.
things out loud. And one of them, I swear to God, it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They're in a prison, and the one guy's asking questions. The other guy just goes, Ja Rule. Oh my God. Ja Rule is haunting this prison.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it does. All right. I
Oh.
learned that Pope Paul III.
Oh,
Pope
okay.
Paul III. That was way before our
Pope
time.
Paul the Third.
Yep,
Yeah.
Not John Paul.
Oh gosh, yeah, this would have been loads
This is
ago.
a very long time ago. He
You know
was
what?
also a
I will tell you. You want to hear something funny? When I was looking through your list real quick, I was scanning over it, and I saw Ja Rule, and I saw Pope Paul the Third, and my mind said, RuPaul.
Sure. I mean, I like that. I like that. Not a leapling, but I like it.
You're right.
So here's the one that surprised me.
Okay.
I was surprised. This is true. I didn't believe it at first, so I looked it up a couple places. Superman.
The fictional character.
In canon, yes, he has a leap day birthday. In canon, so
Like, is that the day he landed on Earth?
no, it's whatever his birthday is. So whatever year, which obviously changes now that we keep moving his timeline up, but whatever year he supposedly
But wouldn't the days
declared
be
was his
different
birthday.
on Krypton?
Yes, it would be, but this is a human person birthday. Like this, my guess is when this started, when Superman began.
Okay.
He landed, he integrated as a baby, right? He's
Uh-huh.
like suddenly, and they just picked a birthday for him.
They had to pick a day, and they said, he's weird enough. Let's just call
Let's
it.
just
Let's
go.
call it February 29th.
Let's go to February 29th. And my guess is, I'm assuming whatever year
It
those
was
started.
probably around 32.
Right? That makes sense, right?
I want to say.
And then, but now, like, that gets weird because as we keep moving people's origin stories up,
Yeah.
that's not really possible. Like,
right.
like
yeah.
the
'Cause now he's younger than me, right? Like,
right, yeah, like Smallville.
Sure.
If there wasn't a leap year that happened to coincide with this kid being in high school, like you couldn't
yeah.
do
well, hold on. 70. When was I'm trying to remember when the election was.
78.
80. So 80 was an election year.
80 was an election year.
So
Yeah.
76, 72.
Well, no, 72 wasn't a leap year.
It wasn't.
No, because it's not every 4 years.
Jesus
apparently,
Christ.
right. So 70
Madness.
was 1970, 1974, 1978, and then 80 was the leap year.
Jesus. Okay.
Those were the so yes, if Smallville, say he was born in 80 or 78, you could get away with a leap day, but you couldn't otherwise. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was so confused.
I guess he would have been 80 because he was younger than us.
Oh
right?
yeah, I mean that's when that show came
On
out.
Smallville.
Yeah, on Smallville.
He would have been born in 80.
Probably.
I would say.
I mean, give or take, but you have to like plan for that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
so
yeah.
I'm guessing somewhere along between the comics and movies and everything, they've abandoned
Maybe.
that he was a leap baby.
Yeah. Could be.
Baby.
Leap baby.
I mean, it's like when you adopt a cat and you don't know when their birthday is.
Yeah, you just
guess one.
You usually you take their adoption day and you figure how old they are and you kind of
just have a guess.
That's when I think they were born.
Like
6 weeks ago before I got them. You know.
Like I had a cat growing up that was a tortoiseshell, so she was orange and black, and we got her at Christmas time, so we're like, oh, her birthday was around Halloween, so we just declared her birthday Halloween.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that sounds she's an
fair.
orange and black cat
who
was born and most then if she was born sometime in October, figured the 31st kind of got you all of it, right?
Sure.
Like it didn't matter if she's born the 15th or
it doesn't really.
Anyway, she was a cat. But then I learned
she didn't give a shit. She was like, every time you celebrated her birthday on Halloween, she was like, my birthday's on the 19th, you assholes.
Exactly.
You're late.
Exactly. Well, now I have fancy cats. So for all of our cats, I know their exact birthday.
Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah. That happens when you buy a fancy cat.
When you buy a fancy cat, you know their actual birthday.
Right.
So then I learned motivational speaker Tony Robbins is a leapling.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care about him very much.
Yeah, that seems like a terrible job. That's like that's so low on that list of like those who can do, those who can't teach, those who can't teach, motivational speak.
Yeah, he seems like he's 2 degrees away from being a cult leader.
Sure.
Like if he had just like incorporated more, he would have ended up with a community in like Nevada where people worshipped him.
Or on the coast somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. Somewhere in the people
Southern Oregon.
Yeah, I mean maybe he's got some wisdom and most cult leaders do, but I always felt like he was just one step shy, like the NXIVM guy.
It is kind of that, yeah.
So,
who's this other person? This is crazy.
Aileen Wuornos. Are you familiar with Aileen Wuornos?
That name doesn't ring a bell.
We're gonna need to do a whole show because she's a famous serial killer.
Okay.
She murdered multiple men, husbands specifically.
Oh.
And she murdered them. Her defense at the time was
they had it coming.
Yeah, but turns out she murdered all of them for their money.
That makes more sense than they had it coming.
Well,
I mean, although they probably one or two of them,
some men do have
one or two of them had it coming,
I mean,
but some of them just had money.
I don't recommend murder as the solution, but
she's an anomaly in that she's a female serial killer.
Correct, and maybe because she's also an anomaly because she's a leap day baby.
It's crazy talk.
So maybe that's why, because it's backwards day. It's backwards day. Women born on leap day
can kill guys. Yeah.
Like they could propose to people on Leap Day, but also if you're born on Leap Day, you could just murder people.
You can murder. It turns out. Well, I mean, not legally.
She was punished severely for her, but she was
not legally, but you can conceivably do it.
Although I should add,
I mean, you can do whatever you want until you can't. You know, truth be told.
I'm going to add serial killers maybe to our October.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that.
I do love me some. I love cults and serial killers. Some of them
we should talk about both those things at some point.
Cults.
We did cults.
Yeah, we did cults.
Oh yeah, we did. That's right. I remember now
because watch our previous
I remember now because I was talking because one of my great grand aunt was in a cult also. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. All right, and then the last person leap child that I found was a Carolina Hurricanes hockey player.
Oh,
okay. I thought that was relevant because we live in North Carolina.
And
Cam Ward.
Isn't that crazy that we have a hockey team in North Carolina?
It is.
How do you like that? Take that, Michigan. We also have hockey here. It just,
I often forget we have hockey here. I forget we have hockey and basketball.
They won a couple of years back. I remember they actually won the Stanley Cup, and I'm not talking about the cup that you can go stand in line for and fight over, but the big silver thing.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple of cultural things that I found in my research. France has a newspaper that only comes out on Leap Day, and it
makes sense because what people call the French colloquially.
Yes, the frogs.
There you go. Yes. And then leaping,
correct.
Leap.
But as it turns out, that newspaper, it has a name that's in French that I couldn't possibly pronounce if I tried.
Okay.
But it outsells all other newspapers just in the one day.
That tells you how dead print is, right?
Approximately every 4 years. It outsells every other newspaper on the French market. So people love this shit. I'm guessing every French person buys probably multiple copies.
By the way, she didn't show you, but she's wearing a frog t-shirt. Look at that.
You couldn't see it behind the... Isn't that funny?
It is. I thought it was funny earlier when I walked in and I saw it. And I was like, is that for Leap Day?
Partially. It wasn't even entirely. But partially. So I also learned that Leap Day is considered unlucky for the elderly in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So if you're an elder person in Taiwan.
Because it's just confusing. They're like, fuck, what?
Why is there an extra day?
They're like, I don't, what day? Is what day?
Why isn't it
what?
But apparently,
because they've already forgotten, right? Or they're like, or conversely, they're 25 years old that day.
They were born that day.
And they're like, oh, what? Yeah, it's my birthday. I don't have birthdays.
But to circumvent this, your daughters, because it's always your daughters, because
it's because it's your role.
I guess
roles.
They cook pig trotters and
what the fuck is a pig trotter?
They're pig feet, right?
Okay.
To serve to their elders for good luck. So you can.
It doesn't sound like good luck to me.
Yeah, you can counter the unluckiness of Leap Day by eating pig trotters made by your daughters.
I'm going to say this, and this is not related to leap year, but there's a New Year's tradition in the South of eating certain things on New Year's Day.
Right.
I quit it about 8 years ago because nobody I knew, here was my logic, nobody I knew was either rich or lucky.
Even though they kept eating.
They did this shit every year. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this nonsense. I'm gonna break the cycle, is what I said. I'm not doing it. I'm not eating collards or black-eyed peas or any of that shit. I'll do what I want. I'm going to the Mexican restaurant.
That's fair. All right. I also learned that in Greece, you are supposed to avoid getting married or divorced in a leap year.
I would recommend doing that any year.
That's fair. That's fair.
Both those things will cause you problems.
Marriage and divorce. Yeah.
I mean, marriage is the number one cause of divorce.
Well, it really is. Because you cannot, under any circumstance, get divorced if you've never been married.
This is just a scheme for
big divorce. This is just a big divorce just wants you to get married.
Yes, exactly. And I say both of them are a scheme for redistribution of wealth. So,
all right. And then
fuck around and find out.
It's true. And then I learned the last tidbit that I've got for you on this here 3 days before Leap Day.
Okay.
is there's a city on the border of Texas and New Mexico called Anthony. And for some fucking reason,
he goes by Tony though.
He does. It is the leap year capital of the world.
I don't understand this at all.
Me neither. But I'm guessing because it's right on the border, like there's you can hop.
Oh, is it? Like, it's a Mexican town.
Well, it's on New Mexico and Texas. So it's
what? It's New Mexico. Yeah. Oh, New Mexico and Texas.
New Mexico and Texas.
But it belongs to Texas for 3 years. And then on the 29th of February, though, it belongs to New Mexico.
But apparently, leaplings will often, that's where they go.
They gather there.
They gather there for their birthdays.
That's just kooky.
So
I don't know, man.
If you're...
I'm curious now, though. I'm curious about this town. It sounds like a weird place. Okay.
Well, I tried to find out more. In fact, I tried to find everything I found. So I guess it's like Kansas City. Like there's Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
So because everything I looked at, I'm like, well, is it in Texas or is it in New Mexico? But everything just said Anthony on the border of Texas and New Mexico. And I'm like,
but it's got to be somewhere, damn it.
Somewhere. So my guess is there's literally like an Anthony on both sides. And there's the,
Oh, it's not like Texarkana and Arkansas or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's like some other border towns that were like, you know what I mean? Like Mexicali and Calamex.
But yeah.
Calexico or whatever it's called. I can't remember.
But like, more like Kansas City, where it's just Kansas City.
It's Kansas City
regardless of which half you're on.
And it's not like it should just be East Kansas City or something, right? You ever
guess.
Oh, here's the thing. This is a quick aside. But if you have a city, a big city, and then there's another city across the river with a cardinal direction in front of it, you don't want to be in that part. That's the part that sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? West Memphis.
Sure, yeah, West Memphis.
I can't. There's other ones.
West Memphis.
West Asheville.
I like West Asheville. West Asheville is delightful.
But listen, but it used to be called Worst Asheville for a reason.
Yeah, but it's literally not anymore. Now it's gentrified.
You're just as well to get your car broken into either place, either side of Asheville.
Now it's just gentrified Asheville. But
okay.
So yeah, West Memphis though. If you're there and you did not,
you don't want to be in West Memphis.
Yeah, you don't want to be accused of a crime that you didn't commit for sure. That brings us to the end of the episode. So I hope you all enjoyed. Are you doing anything special for Leap Day?
I can't say as I am.
Thursday.
I don't believe in it anyway. It's not. It's like made up shit.
I'm going to be in a car all day, which I feel is like if I get an extra day, I might as well use it to travel.
You might as well. Yeah. So, where you driving to?
Ocala, Florida. To visit,
that's right.
Visit my horsey client.
Okay. Why the long face? You'll say.
I will. I will say that, and then I will say, "Can I pet your face? Can I pet your face? Are you a good horsey? Are you a good horsey?"
And they'll go.
They might bite me too.
That's true. They could.
They got strong little teeth.
They do. They got big old chompers. They got.
So anyway, we've got some. Bill has a Leap pizza to eat. So why don't you take us away?
Okay then. Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone, unless we agreed, in which case they shared them, or vice versa when she had an opinion that I didn't agree with. We didn't have any. I don't
Not today.
No agreement.
Sometimes
no disagreement.
But
yeah, this is like what the fuck? Who cares? This was all academic.
It's a random day on the calendar.
Anyways, be sure to like and subscribe if you're on the YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. # Can't Miss Bill Shit and or Opinion Gang. If you want to leave us a comment, concern, idea for a future show, question, whatever the hell, we don't care. As long as it's not about time, we don't care.
We might care. We would answer if you ask a question. We'll answer.
We will answer it. I promise you will get an answer if you have a thing. Anyways. Be sure to. Well, are we back next week?
No, we're off next week.
We're off next week. That's right. I figure sooner or later we're going to be off.
We're off next week because I will be in Ocala.
You'll be in Ocala talking to horses.
Yep.
So, yeah, we won't see you next week. But maybe a couple of weeks from now, you'll tune back in and we'll talk about a damn thing.
We will. All right, folks. We will see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.